Hello class, this is the material associated with the Transactional Leadership presentation for ITM 560 Law and Ethics and Information Technology here at California Baptist University. Today's date is May 19, 2019, and I'm Joseph Martinez. Today's presentation will cover the topics of transactional leadership and other related information, more specifically how transactional leadership is related to traditional leadership and transcendental leadership. Additionally, a brief discussion related to how transcendental leadership is linked to other leadership styles along a common continuum. Then we will conclude the presentation with a couple of questions related to transactional leadership. So with respect to traditional leadership styles, the two main approaches include transactional leadership and transformational leadership. The transactional leadership style primary focus is to make the workforce work in order to get good compensation. On the other hand, the transformational leadership style inspires the workforce to follow their leader. So just two different ones. Transactional leadership style. Now let's take a closer look and discuss some of the main concepts associated with this style of leadership. As explained in the Journal of Leadership and Organizational Studies article from this week's reading material, the leadership style requires an interactive leader as the bulk of the interaction between the personnel is task-orientated. Additionally, the style focuses on a give-and-take process because material incentives are a key motivation for employees to work. Furthermore, these suitable incentives are associated with a level of timeliness and fairness. Similarly, the transactional leadership style aims to allow mutually beneficial activities to flow between management and company personnel. So there's two dimensions. The transactional leadership can be divided into a contingent reward and management by exception. The contingent reward element refers to an appropriate reward offered by leaders to motivate team members. As a kind of external incentive, contingent reward includes commitment and fulfillment. In addition, the management by exception element focuses on positive and negative management. Moreover, positive management by exception refers to observing team members at any moment to ensure their tasks are finished. Negative management by exception is implemented when requirements are violated and errors occur. Moving on, now we'll just briefly talk about the transcendental leadership. So the foundation is formed to help us in the following slides that are associated with the theory of continuum. Transcendental leadership integrates aspects of transactional and transformational leadership and is considered the third structural level of leadership. Additionally, this leadership style has a heavy emphasis on spirituality and more specifically the spiritual development of the leader. The term servant leader is utilized to describe a transcendental leader. Furthermore, the style of leadership development, growth and maturity is steered by the spirituality instead of ego. Now let's take a look at how these leadership styles can be connected in a simple manner. The following figure is a conceptual model that incorporates all mentioned leadership theories. Later in this presentation, we will brief what implications are associated with the positioning of the transactional leadership theory relative to the continuum. But for now, let's take a look at the figuring from a comparative perspective. So in this figure, we can see that all three approaches to leadership are interconnected in one way or another. We notice that the transactional leadership theory overlaps both the transformational and transcendental leadership styles. If we take a closer look at the upper left, the upper continuum labeled locus of control continuum, we notice that at one end of the continuum we have external and at the other we have internal. The internal transactional leadership style is positioned near the external side. Next, looking at the bottom continuums, we notice that it is labeled effectiveness spirituality continua. These continuums have low at one end of the continua and high at the opposite end. From the position of transactional leadership, we notice that it's located on the low side of the particular continuums. After seeing that transactional leadership style was positioned on the previous figure, we can discuss what this means. Since the transactional leadership theory was placed near the external portion of the upper locus of control continuum, this means that these leaders have less confidence and also believe in luck, fate, and chance. Also, since the transactional leadership style was located in the low end of the bottom effectiveness continuum, this means that the leadership is based on exchange process between the leader and the workers. Similarly, the transactional leadership's low with respect to spirituality continuum relates to the leader having a low sense of spiritual awareness and places faith in rational authority. Lastly, we have two questions related to transactional leadership style. The first question states, what are some of the most significant drawbacks that the transactional leadership style may encounter in the multinational organization specifically associated with the organization's personnel? And the second question asks how the technological innovations over the last 50 years and the need for knowledge workers impacted the effectiveness of the transactional leadership style in managing an organization. So this concludes my presentation on transactional leadership. I hope I was able to provide a little more insight on the topic. I'd like to thank all of you for letting me present this information to you. If there's any questions, please send them my way. And just thanks again. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.